Welcome to BP Leadership Podcast, where real leaders are made. I'm your host, Bill Purvis, and today my guest is a dear friend that I've known for a long time. His name is Matt Mock. Matt owns a very successful IT company, and he's done very well professionally. But beyond all that, he has a heart of gold and a personality that will light up a room. And I'm looking forward to hearing him today. We're going to talk today about some of the things that he's involved with, his passion for Jiu-Jitsu and how he got into it, struggles that he's faced with his friends at the beginning of his marriage, and then the leader he's become through all of the struggles that he's had. So this is going to be an exciting podcast. I'm looking forward to it. Let's get started. Well, let me ask you a couple of things. One is, I understand I heard you're into jiu-jitsu too.
Oh, gosh.
How's that going?
It started with probably your son,
right? Yeah,
and then a buddy of mine.
I got you, and they walked off.
Well, like it was really weird. It was the point. I'll tell you what it actually started. Like knowing them for a long time, and y'all being involved in UFC, and so it's always been kind of interesting. But the last thing I ever thought about was actually doing it because I'm a keyboard pusher. I'm not trying to. Yeah. So I was like, you know what? I'm not really interested in this at all. But my wife bought. So podcasters were in Georgia. So she got me a concealed carry permit.
Right.
And so I was like, okay, I can hold a gun and do all this other kind of stuff. Well, the problem was my jeans are too skinny.
Right.
So there was no concealing at all.
It was
me walking around with a big lump in my pants. I was like, this ain't gonna work. So then my wife was like, oh, I know what we'll do. We'll buy you a smaller gun. So she got me a 380.
Right.
380 ACP, right? So smaller gun.
Right.
I can carry it, whatever. Well, it still didn't fit. Even got to the point where it's like, I'll buy one of the leg holsters and hold it in my leg. But then I was like, well, that don't work with the normal jeans. Yeah. I just have never wore big clothes.
Yeah.
Now my brother and a lot of my friends they can carry, and you never know, and it's all legal here. And so, but
it was obvious you were packing.
But for me, it was literally like some guy was like, dude, that ain't working at all. Right. I mean, my shirts aren't big, nothing I wear is big.
Right.
So I was like, well, this ain't gonna work. And then also because the facilities we work in, a lot of our facilities are, you can't just walk into that facility with carrying. Because a lot of facilities these days, what they'll do is you cannot, even if the law is to make sure this thing is.
If it's
like, for example, it's frowned upon to walk into schools, counseling centers,
that's right,
legal offices, government buildings.
Government buildings, yeah.
Even though in the state you have a concealed carry, you don't walk into those facilities with it. So the problem is that the company, we go into a lot of facilities like that. Yeah. So then it became the saying, okay, even if I did find a place to hide it, which is impossible, I had it on and off, on and off, on. And a lot of those carriers, they're down in your back.
I know.
It's never comfortable. Yep. So I was like, forget this. I'm done. So I'm not going to do this. And it wasn't a week later, we were in the back of a restaurant, and I cannot tell you the name of this restaurant. I can remember exactly the inside. I can't even tell you where we're at. So I don't even know if we were in town. But the way the restaurant was is you imagine it's like this triangle. Right. So the entrance was at the tip of that triangle, and you had to come in. And so when you got into the restaurant, it was like there was your way out. Right. I remember it was this real awkward shape. Yeah. Well, this guy, after we got sat down with my kids, this was years ago, this guy came in and got sat down, and you could how you could just tell something.
You just know something's off.
Something's not right. Yeah. Even the staff is not feeling comfortable. It was mostly female. It was inside the building. Right. And I realized real quick, I can't. There's nothing I can do. Yeah. I'm here with my children. No one here is going to do anything, and this guy is not at it. And guess what? It's the only way out.
Mm-hmm. You got to go by there. Yeah.
So literally, luckily, the gentleman, I think he might have been schizophrenic, but he kind of just got up and left. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so as soon as he left, I was like, we're done. I think we just left some cash on the table. Yeah. And I remember, I'm even kind of shaking now. Right. I remember, that was the weirdest feeling to think I could do nothing to protect my kids. See, before in life, it was me.
You didn't think about it.
And then it was me and your wife, and it's like, maybe we'll fight together as a team. Yeah, but then when my kids are involved, I'm like, I have to do, and you're willing to do anything. Yeah. So I literally, scared to death, I started calling these different jiu-jitsu gyms. And I just started calling the numbers, and the third one I called, the guy answered. And he was like, yeah, talking to us, said, listen, I'm not coming there to get beat up. I'm scared to death. I'll pay for private lessons. I don't want to get beat up. I'm old. Let's don't do all this. But I want to feel comfortable to be able to manage the situation. And the gentleman's super nice. So went there. I ended up being there for about 2 months doing nothing but private lessons. And he was really nice. He said, listen, all this is great, but until you actually push yourself, you need to know this is going to work. He said that's why so many of these people can't do anything, because they go through these scheduled regimens, but then when somebody actually grabs a hold to them and they're really giving it to them,
they freeze up.
You don't know what to do. It's always different when there's pressure.
Yeah.
So I said, he goes, look, come to the lunch class. If you come to the lunch class, it's mostly guys who have a job. It's you know, adults. There's very few younger guys, because younger guys are fairly more aggressive.
Right.
No problem. So that was 3 years ago. And I haven't stopped. So typically we'll do that 2 to 3 days a week. But what's interesting is, before that, I always try to sign up for really difficult stuff, because I think like adversity makes someone stronger.
That's right.
You know, and then even in like work, like we're kind of never handed easy stuff.
Right.
It's always like, hey, by the way, we need to do all these things, but we only have this much money. And I'm like, I don't know if that's possible.
Right.
So the jiu-jitsu thing kind of went in with all that. I'm always signing up for odd stuff. I like difficult things.
Right.
However, physical altercations was at the absolute bottom of my list for difficult things to sign up for.
Right.
You know, so I had done that, and then years later I found out the gentleman who was training me, he's a world champion.
Yes. Yeah.
So I ended up being in a great establishment, because I made 3 phone calls.
Yeah. Wow.
And it, was it chance that it ended up there? Probably not. And then now we're doing Muay Thai. Yeah. I've signed up, so I'm getting punched in the face. It's a very interesting thing, but you know, that's how
great for you both health wise. Probably peace of mind.
Yeah, it's a mental thing, because like I didn't force my child. That sounds weird, but I asked Max to get involved in it because I think sometimes we feel like we're pushed in the corner and like there's no way out.
Right.
But literally, I can be pushed and I'm about to get choked to death.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, on the daily, you know, or multiple times a week. And so sometimes I've actually gone, and you know how you get involved in these big meetings, and sometimes these meetings, because I'm just a little old Matt, and I could be in the room with very awesome people, and I'm never gonna be on that level, but yet they have me in the room because I'm some piece of the puzzle.
Yeah.
And so you get in this room with people, and I'm way more like calm. Because I got beat up 2 hours ago.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like I kind of feel like you kind of get to a boiling point, and that just takes it out. So even if this gentleman over here is frustrating me because they have no idea what they're talking about, why are they giving me their opinion? You know, it's like I just kind of let it just rolls off my back. And I think a lot of that's because I don't let it get built up. You know, whether it's the quiet time in the morning that kind of puts me at peace, you know, going through Proverbs, or whether it's the jiu-jitsu kind of attached, it's almost like it helps me to just calm.
Yeah, you're more centered,
because
more
you can
peace.
Tell I'm a bundle of energy already.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, so the last thing I need. So if I go into a big meeting and there's a big decision,
and then
I don't want to be
hyping up. Yeah, that's cool.
It can kind of get ran away real quick.
I like it though, man. And the thing is, people don't realize I've known you, gosh, since you were like 13 years old or so. And practically lived at our house, and it felt like in many ways almost like a father to you.
Yeah,
proud as can be just watching how you've grown up, what you've done. I mean, Matt, you've made a lot of progress that I've seen that others don't see, and that is you've really come out. You're always fun-loving, the life of the party, but you come out to where suddenly sometimes people think people that are fun don't take positions or they're just neutral, and you have really come out with strong views on things you believe, and you've been able to say it and declare it, and your loyalty, and especially with you and Brent, the relationship, my son. I've just watched you through all these years. I've said, really, you've evolved perfectly. And
well, I mean, heck, it put you on the list for the reasons why. I mean, you know, like, so spiritually, I have never lacked being around godly people.
Right.
You start with my mother. Right. My mother is just the most mercy-filled. She's never met a person she don't like.
Right.
She's going to talk to you. She's going to take care of you. I mean, she could literally say, hey, how you doing? And she immediately loves you to the top.
Yeah.
She'll do anything for you. You know, which sometimes she can get in trouble for.
That's
all
right. That's all right.
And so I grew up with that. And then I grew up with a mother that I could say, Mom, I'm going to wear a spaghetti helmet to school today with a cape because I'm super spaghetti. And she'd be like, awesome, let me get your cape ready.
Yeah.
There was no like, there was just, she believed in everything I wanted to do. So when in business, you know, spiritually, there was like this really good foundation. And then as a teenage years, I remember my mom, it was like, there was no discussion about church. You went to church.
Yeah.
And so we went, at that point in time, our youth leader was Ricky Smith. I love him to death. Yeah. And guess what? As time goes, he married me and my wife, who met in the youth group.
How about that?
And so it's funny watching like the adults and especially you're one of the adults in my life, and it's like this constant shaping. And I remember my mother used to say, the reason I wanted everybody at my house is because I knew what was going on.
That's true.
So she was an open door. We'd have 20 people there, and guess what? Those some bad kids, those some good kids, but she wanted everybody because she said she could control the environment there.
Exactly.
You know, and that was one of the things you had done too, because I remember coming over to your house. It was, if there was a bad kid, might not be there much longer, right? Like we're gonna have a good group here. And so, like, that spiritual foundation, knowing that, like, even if I failed, I could literally completely fall off the map, and there was nothing that my mom would be like, try again. Let's do it again. Try it this way. Don't worry.
She's been a positive voice in your life.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah. And so, obviously, I love her to death. I'm mama's boy.
Yeah, good.
And but then the spirit, just having the spiritual foundation, I got involved in youth early. Right. You know, and then I went from the youth group to obviously becoming an adult. Right. We'd gotten involved here. And, you know, the thing we tell people all the time, but me and my wife went to, first off, my mom wasn't scared to go to any church. So I had been to almost every church in the area.
You've been, you sampled a buffet.
Yeah, that's right. Like, I could go to any church and fit in. That's fine, whatever. Yeah. So then my mom loved that because she loves people. Yeah. So we would do a lot of stuff. But then I remember we got married. It was because of, honestly, it was weird. You know, I was around you. Right. Before I went to church at Cascade.
How about that?
Right?
That's true. That's true.
You were really Mr. Bill before you were Pastor Bill.
Right.
You know, and so what we had done is we had gotten married. And I remember those conversations. We did not want to go to Cascade.
Right. Yeah.
It was too easy.
Yeah.
It was too easy.
Right.
There's not much going on there.
Right.
You know, there are all the different stories you hear and all that kind of stuff. And so we were like, we'll go look. And we literally, I think if you talk to Megan, I want to say there was 11 churches. Wow. But we came here on purpose as one of those things that we were doing. And, of course, you go, you pray. You go, you pray. You go. Right. Because we wanted to feel led to the place. Yeah. We didn't want to feel like we were just going and taking
just picking up something.
Oh, my gosh. You know, like, because you could tell I want to do something. Right. Yeah. I don't want to just get in a nice seat and then get my hour in and go back to the fishing hole or something. Like, I want to do something. And so it was hilarious because I think, like, towards the end of it, me and Megan, we didn't want to say it. Right. And I think she finally broke it. She was like, I think I feel the best at Cascade.
Right. How about that?
You know, and so it was but it was like we were almost like pushing against it. So it was funny. So Mr. Bill came from like just Mr. Bill to like Pastor Bill. Right. Yeah. You know, and so that was kind of interesting too because I went from like hanging out of the house, which I always tell people all the time, and I started to keep ramping on you.
No, I won't.
You're the same person at the house that you are on the stage. Yeah. And so sometimes when you hear people that want to, there's obviously a lot of rocks that are thrown at different people. Sure. It's very difficult for me to not get a little aggravated because people want to build an opinion on somebody off of the 20 minutes they see them that week.
That's right.
And it's funny to me, and I always, of course, me and Brent, there's no difference in the person when they're at home, when they're on the bike, whatever they're doing. That's the person that's on the stage. Yeah. Flawed and all, right?
Exactly.
Amen.
Exactly.
But what you see is what you get.
All right, well, there you have it. That is part one of Bill's conversation with Matt Mock. And part two is going to be great. This one, you're going to hear Matt talk about his personal life of some struggles that he had when he first started his IT company. Because he started it when he was 18 years old. He was 18 and started his company. And how he didn't really get a whole lot of respect. He kind of got looked down on by a lot of people who were older than him in these companies that he was going into and trying to apply his services that he had with his business. And he talks about how he had to prove himself over and over and over again. But not just having to prove himself, but the character he had to uphold while he was doing that to not show that stigma of, oh, he's young, he doesn't know what he's talking about, how it really kind of molded him into the man he is today and the things he learned through that stage and that phase of his life. Just absolute incredible wisdom that he had at such a young age. So if you are younger, whether you're in high school, college, you're just getting into your life, or if you know somebody, whether it's a son, a daughter, or a friend that needs to hear this next one, make sure you send this to them because this is some good stuff about younger people and how to hold yourself and continue to just stay the course and keep going because it'll all work out in the end. Just great stuff. So make sure you stay tuned for that. Subscribe if you have not already so that you'll get notified when that podcast releases. And as always, remember that this is where real leaders are made. We'll see y'all next time.